Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm doing a quick review of Waterloo Solitaire, a game book from Worthington Press. So let's have a look at Waterloo Solitaire. As advertised, this is a game book from Worthington, and all you need in addition to the book is a die, a pen, and of course a sense of adventure. The book is not too thick, but it does contain several games inside, so let's just pop it open and take a look. When you open up, there is a table of contents, so the rules are fairly short. They give you a detailed example of play, so you can actually read through a game in action. And then the book is actually divided up into French player games and Allied player games that are in various levels of difficulty. So you can play against challenging, veteran, and tough bots as both the French and as the Allied player, and you're going to get 12 games per side. So what's kind of fun is that some of your early battles you'll see flipped, and then you'll get to fight them from the other perspective, which is really cool. Probably my only serious beef with this book is that I hate the way the rules are printed because it's more like a scroll, like you have to look at it horizontally. I mean, the game is played horizontally as well, but something bothers me about it being the rules. But here are all the rules. They are fairly concise. They are pretty easy to work through, and I actually found that with a quick rules read and then the aids that are on the actual games, it's pretty easy to get started with this, which I thought was good. So here you have a detailed example of play, which will help you see how to mark spots off, but I'm actually going to talk about it as well. So this is the first game I played, and I just wrote straight on the book. You probably can't see it super well because it's in pencil, but I've done experimentation with other ways to play. You know, sometimes people don't want to write out the book, or they want to keep it in case they want to play in the future, and we will get to that discussion. But when you're actually playing, this top page is nice because it tells you everything you need to know pretty much, and then you can just reference the rules in the front of the book if you need more detail. But you're going to have a sequence of play. It's going to remind you what to do. You have a chart that helps you interpret your die results, which you're really going to need. Here are the die actions that you can roll for when you're playing the bot turn. And then if the bot gets a tactical event, you roll again, and these are the tactical events. So everything you need is really right there, which I thought was pretty cool. And then you have the actual gameplay area itself, which is, again, actually fairly simple. You will be playing the French in the first game, and you have a limited number of turns in which to defeat the right and left wings of the Allied army. One thing that's interesting about this game is that I personally think your victory conditions as the French are a little bit harder. You have to actually destroy parts of the Allied army in order to win. The Allied army just has to outlast the French army, which is a different matter entirely. The Allies also have some extra help from some additional units as long as they maintain control of those units. You have to attack them to wrest control away. So the way this game basically works is that everybody has their right and left wings. You will have an Imperial Guard and cavalry as the French. There's some Prussians over here who have an impact on the game, and then here are all the parts of the Allied army. And basically on your turn, what's going to happen is you're going to choose one of these actions to take and figure out who you're going to target. So if I want to go crazy and try to take out the right wing, I might pick actions that help me do that. Then you can't actually activate what you've done until the Allied side goes. So you're going to select what you want to do. Then the Allies actually take their turn. So you don't get to respond to them by seeing what they do. You have to make a decision first. Then the Allied stuff is going to go through, whatever the Allies do. And then you get to actually play your French action. And then you mark off that a turn happened and that you began a new turn. Some of the other subtleties of the game include that you cannot take an action 2 turns in a row. So basically, whenever you're doing activations down here, you write the turn numbers to indicate that you did not do that. And it's also kind of fun because it can help you trace what's happening in a game. And there's also an option up here for combined arms tactics where you do 2 things on 1 turn, but it burns both of those things out for your next turn. So you definitely want to have a plan. Your guys are going to get hit too, so you're going to be able to add reinforcements, which are these dudes that are colored in here. And the other thing that you should know is that the die rolls are actually pretty brutal. So right here we have a chart of what happens based on your die roll. But basically, depending on how high you roll, that determines how many hits the French get. So if you get a high result, if you roll 6, it's 2 French hits. But if you roll a 1, the Allies hit you twice. Oops. And if you're in the middle, each person gets hit once, which can feel like a bit of a tit for tat that doesn't get you anywhere. So the actions and formations will shift as you go throughout the game, but essentially what happens is you choose an action, the other side does their action, you do your action, resolve everything, and then take another turn. And as you flip through the book, you have several different battles to try, and you can try them from different perspectives, which I think is very cool indeed. So that is an overview of Waterloo Solitaire. Let's go ahead and have some final thoughts. All right, so now for some final thoughts. Overall, I really like Waterloo Solitaire, and I think it's such a cool game idea. I'm sure there's been stuff like this before, but I've never encountered a game book of this nature. And to me, it's very, very exciting. I think what I like the best about it is its combination of simplicity and portability. This book has just been in my backpack forever while I was getting some review plays in, and I thought that was great. I could just slip it in with all my books. It is flat. It holds up pretty well. And so I was able to just cart it all over the place until I got enough plays in to do this review, which I really appreciated. And twinned with that is the fact the game is fairly simple. You really just do what the rules say. The game itself tells you what order to do everything in, and you follow the order. And when you roll for a specific action, you do the text that is written on the page. And, everything just flows pretty well. And that's something that I really appreciated. I didn't feel like I had to do, it took me a while between plays, I didn't have to do some giant refresh to start playing again. It was very easy to get going again and then maybe consult a friend for some detail, which I thought was really good. One of my biggest issues with games is that I play them a lot while I'm reviewing them, and then I have a hard time returning to them because I've forgotten all of the rules. So Waterloo Solitaire was a nice game for me to review during a really busy time because I didn't have to play it 5 times in a row to feel like I got it down. I was able to kind of pick it up, play a game, put it back in my bag, take it out, play another game, put it back in my bag, and I really appreciated that. That said, the rules are pretty simple, but that doesn't mean that the game itself is just totally simplistic. There are actually a lot of interesting choices to make in each battle, and the challenge levels were legit. There are a range of challenges to take on in this game. I thought that was really good. I think the most interesting part is trying to decide how to do your actions and in what order, and whether to take a combined action. There's actually a lot of choice there because some of your more powerful actions will have better odds on the dice, and they may attack more targets, but because you can only do each of your actions so many times per game, you're like, oh man, do I want to just waste these now? Or do I want to do something that'll only attack the right wing and maybe the odds aren't great, but I might get a hit on the right wing and I can use that better action for something else. So kind of deciding what your odds are and how many activations you have and how to use them correctly is really, I think, the heart of the game, and it made it a lot of fun. Even when I got wrecked off of bad die rolls, it still made me feel like I was making decisions that meant something, and that's what kept me going all the way through the game book. That said, I will warn y'all, if you don't like to be at the mercy of the dice, let's just say that Napoleon got smashed a few times, especially as I was working my way through the first half of the game. I mean, I got a little smarter later, but still, if you get a lot of really bad die rolls, you're just not going to do so hot in this game. And of course, dice hate us, which is why we like to play games with them so much. But if you get a whole bunch of bad rolls, you're just going to feel frustrated. You really can get unlucky in this game because of the way that it's structured. I personally didn't really care about that. I was just in it to go through the different scenarios and have a good time. And as long as you're approaching this game with that kind of attitude of I'll try to do the best thing I can do, but maybe the dice won't be with me, then I think that you can have a good time with this one. If you need to feel like you built an optimized engine that works and you can prove that it works, and you had all these really carefully laid plans and they all went off without a hitch, this is not your game. So make sure that you're aware of your own self and your preferences and the way you like to play before you pick this up, because it was fun for me, but it will not be fun for you if you really don't like being at the mercy of that one single D6, which was occasionally really mean to me. The other thing about this game that you kind of need to know yourself to approach correctly is that this is a game book, and it's not laminated. It's not really bound in a way that's meant for you to play this again and again. If you just want to play it through one time and put it in the recycling bin, you really could do that. And I'm actually thinking about doing that now that I've done this review. I might just play through everything one more time and then recycle it. I'm not sure that this is a game that I want to play again and again over the years. I don't know that it's a forever game. It's definitely a fun game. So, I'm visiting my parents soon, and I might take Bismarck Solitaire with me on the airplane, because Waterloo Solitaire kept me super entertained in kind of similar situations. Lunch break, just waiting for something else to happen, quick game. And I did say that the game has some good choices and options, but that doesn't mean that it's sort of the depth of game that I'd want to play again and again for the next decade. I just don't see myself returning to this one repeatedly. That said, if you don't want to destroy your book, you do have options other than like write on the book. You know, it's not like you have to tear up the book after you finish a battle or anything like that. In fact, I tried out a few different options and I'm going to give them to you here so that if you get this game and you want to know how to preserve your book and play it repeatedly because that's what you like, then there are ways to do that. So I just wrote in pencil lightly on the first game. It's going to be pretty easy to erase and I'm not worried about game preservation. But I did try out some other options that were good. If you don't care about color, and it didn't really matter, to be honest, I thought that maybe having it in grayscale when the book is printed in red and blue might bother me. But it actually didn't. So you can actually just make a copy of these sheets on a photocopier, and it was fine. And that was no big deal at all. Other options, one that I actually really liked because it also keeps digital copies of things that I can just pull up again and again, is I have an iPad and I have Notability. So I liked to scan this game and then just kind of have the game on my iPad and write on it in a note-taking app with my stylus. And then you can just undo everything you did or just make a copy and write all over that. And that was an easy way to do this if you are techie and you don't mind having an iPad with you while you're playing your game. If you want to just keep the book and make things erasable, I think another good option, depending on what you have, is some sort of combination of transparencies or even like, those page protectors that you can get at Target. Just those clear sleeves that you can put around a piece of paper. You can actually write on those with dry erase markers. I actually tried this with a transparency because I'm a teacher and I have still access to old school transparencies and wet erase markers. So you can just stick a transparency over the game and like write over it and then clean the transparency off, no problem. But I haven't tested this. I feel pretty sure that you could just attach, maybe with paper clips, a page protector to the page in your book that you're playing and write on it, probably with a dry erase marker. And because page protectors are so cheap, if you mess it up, you can just toss it and get another one. So I think you have a lot of options for preserving your game if you want to return to it or if it just bothers you to mess up a book. Maybe you want to play all the games and pass it off to somebody else, etc., etc. You do have options for that. And so hopefully that gives you some ideas for how to handle it if you decide to get this book and also keep it for yourself and for posterity. So that's Waterloo Solitaire. It was simple. It was fun. I don't know if it's a forever game, but I would absolutely play another different game book, just maybe not this one a whole bunch of times in a row. And I hope that Worthington keeps making these because they're about $30. They give a good amount of entertainment. I mean, I would say I got way more hours of entertainment from this than I would have paying $30 to go to the movies. And these are great for kind of slipping into your bag and then using to while away a 30-minute break in your day. So that's Waterloo Solitaire from Worthington. I'll be probably back soon with a review of Bismarck Solitaire since I got that one on the back of Waterloo Solitaire. And I will be looking forward to future game books because these are super simple and quite fun. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you've played this game, what you think. Like, subscribe, and most of all, happy gaming.